I was going to look at that brown, low, like baseboard.
Okay, let's try to sneak up.
Of all the video games I've done, this is the only one where you come together just like a real theatrical production and spend the time like we're shooting a movie. We're doing a television show. And for me, the rehearsal day, it's just invaluable.
Well, I think why it's also essential, you know, being able to sit around the table and go through the storylines. We are not given a script beforehand, so in terms of doing our homework or knowing the order of the timeline, we don't have that already in our minds. So that rehearsal process is so essential to check in with Amy and say, okay, remind us what has happened right before, what's going on in the timeline. If we didn't have that to check in, it's not like in a TV series where it's like, okay, we've shot all of this, I understand everything that's happened before. It's so out of sequence. So it's very much in your imagination and in the dark that rehearsal time is essential for being accurate.
It's also great about the freedom we're allowed and have been from the beginning of playing with things and changing things during that process.
Yeah, I think, Amy, you really allow actors to get in there and give their contribution.
I remember one of the first scenes you and I had to do. I'm on a Jeep holding this massive weapon, and you guys had blocked out what you needed technically from the scene. And then you said you guys should have some kind of physical, not embrace necessarily, but some kind of thing that indicates, you know, some history. And I said to Nolan, don't you think it would be fun if I jumped into your arms from the top of the Jeep rather than going through the motions of getting down? I just feel like Chloe isn't going to waste any time. She's very physical. I really believe that this would be the choice that she would make. Seems like I'm always saving your ass.
Well, it is an ass worth saving.
And so I think we showed it to the guys, and I said, are we able to do this? And there's the difficulty with the balls and jumping onto someone from a height. But you guys were able to accommodate because you saw the value in establishing their relationship and their history very quickly in that one move.
And it really kicked it off like that.
Yeah, and that was the first mocap shoot that we had, and she was like, don't you think I should just jump and straddle you? And I was like, yes. Yes, I think you should. But in all seriousness, that was one of the reasons that she was cast. She was the kind of person who was going to be gung-ho on a mocap set, and I knew that was going to work. I had an inkling, because I'm incredibly intuitive, that in the casting process, she was going to be like that, because she was so much fun in that audition.
Writing, we write as we go, and so it's so much easier to write when I can hear your voices in my head, you know, and I know how you're going to react to something, and it's great to be able to know I can take something in there and think, this isn't quite there yet, but I know when we just go out and put it up on its feet, it's going to suddenly come to life because you guys know the character so well.
Well, she's an incredible writer, and prefaces everything with, now this is probably terrible, and we should please rewrite it, and it's always brilliant, and it's complex.
How many pages did you write for this game?
I was pretty shocked when I put it all together in one folder. It was this thick. It was, I don't even know. I mean, it's literally just the pre-rendered, the rendered in the game engine cinematics is an hour and a half, over an hour and a half. So we basically made a feature film and a game.
It's a feature.
But Amy also had to explain to me one day that because each player's experience of the game is different, the way that we do these cinematic scenes has to give enough information to each player so that they can be reminded of information they may have heard 6 months before, 2 days before.
Right, you never know.
So it's a very interesting way of disseminating information. So it's technically a really interesting way to tell a story. It's not only non-linear, the way we're having to perform it, but it's also having to sort of be subtle and yet not too...
Yeah, it's kind of, there's no perfect answer to that, because unlike any other medium, I mean, in a film, you expect somebody to sit down and watch it and spend the 2 hours. Somebody may play a game, say the game lasts 10, 12 hours. They may sit and do it in one sitting, which is awesome, because then they experience it in one flow. Or they may play it over a number of weeks, in which case some hint that we subtly dropped in the first scene is not going to be resonating for them when they get, you know, halfway through the game. So trying to find that happy medium for all those players is difficult.